The season 5 finale for Miraculous was our conclusion to the Agreste arc, in which Gabriel was our main antagonist for the past 5 seasons and was motivated by the loss of his wife, who he'd do anything for to bring her back to life. This finale introduced to us the process of the wish and what it's really like to combine both the Ladybug and Black Cat Miraculous, confront Gimme, and embark in a new and reborn world. Though this finale had some good and exciting moments in it, by the end of it I found myself unimpressed for multiple reasons, like the exclusion of Adrien/Cat Noir, how Gabriel's character arc was concluded, and Marinette lying to Adrien in the end for the sake of respecting Gabriel's wishes. So in today's video, we are finally going to be going over everything that went down in the season 5 finale, episodes Conformation and Recreation, discussing my thoughts on it as well as some of my theories going into season 6, and even going over the writing team's comments on the finale. Speaking about the writing team, it's recently been revealed that season 6 is done being written, which is exciting to hear, and hopefully we can still look forward to the new season beginning to come out by the end of this year or early next. With that being said, let's discuss this finale. The episode Conformation begins with us following up on Kagami and Adrien's situation, since the two were now locked away in London, yet being portrayed to the public as this perfect couple that was definitely not suffering in these depressing rooms thanks to their crazy parents. The crazy thing too is that this is exactly where Adrien would be all throughout the finale, but honestly it didn't surprise me, and the writers even went to comment on that. Credits to Little Mary on a Roof for sharing all of the writer commentary that I'll be bringing up in this video. Since 2014-2015, it was always planned that Cat Noir would not partake in the final battle against Hawkmoth, as they wanted for a particular fusion to occur, that being Bug Noir, aka unifying the Ladybug and Black Cat Miraculous. In previous seasons, and more specifically episodes like Cat Blanc and Ephemeral, a common theme for Adrien/Cat Noir was his emotions always getting the better of him, and his father using that to his advantage. When he found out his father was Hawkmoth in Cat Blanc, and that he was doing all of this to get Emily back, Gabriel used those emotions to akumatize him, resulting in the end of the world. In Ephemeral, we see the same outcome. Gabriel reveals his identity and the truth about his mother and akumatizes him. Since earlier on, it's been shown to us that Adrien finding out the truth was never going to work, but that doesn't of course mean that I wasn't still hopeful that we would see Adrien/Cat Noir partake in the final battle, especially since this would have been the last time we saw both Gabriel and Adrien have a moment with one another. Maybe if Adrien did find out but Gabriel's fate remained the same, things could have worked out differently. Personally, I just know that I would have much rather enjoyed that confrontation between the two of them, rather than Marinette being in that position for him because he couldn't have handled it, because now poor Adrien is completely brainwashed of this idea that his father was a hero, and it now creates this tension between him and Marinette that only she'll continuously be reminded of and feel, and there's no doubt in my mind that Lila isn't going to take advantage of this, seeing as she was literally watching all of this go down and is one of the few people who actually know the truth. Now that Kagami and Adrien had no way of escaping their rooms, Gabriel and Tomoe could confidently begin the launch of their perfect alliance, granting them complete control over every single Alliance Ring user around the world, and we'd go on to see how these endless nightmares would begin affecting everyone, starting with Marinette. In her nightmare, she's dressed as a knight trying to save Adrien from his father, but accidentally goes to erase Gabriel from existence, which causes for Adrien to cry and ask her why she did that. Immediately after waking up, we see Marinette jump into action and seek Natalie's help, only to stumble into Alia, who's also experiencing nightmares. Over with Adrien, while he'd already be living in a nightmare of a situation, we'd see his nightmare from the previous episode return of him as Anti-Cat, with Monarch now threatening him to hand over both his and Ladybug's Miraculous. Realizing that he's not in his right state of mind and can't transform transform here without jeopardizing his identity, Adrien would end up renouncing his Miraculous temporarily so that Plag could find a new holder during this fight, and ultimately would give into using the Alliance Ring. Something that I really enjoyed throughout the finale unexpectedly was the screen time that we got with Plag. It probably comes across as nothing special to most, but I think I enjoyed those moments so much because it's something we see less of more and more as the seasons go on. I miss those moments of just getting to see Plag or Tiki be silly and showing off their personalities. Just as Marinette arrives to the Agreste mansion and transforms in hope to find Natalie and talk to her, we get to see what Natalie's nightmare is, and despite her helping Gabriel all this time in hopes that one day he could fulfill his wishes in bringing Emily back to life, that is exactly what her nightmare was, Monarch being successful. This does come as no surprise though, considering her reoccurring defiance against Gabriel all throughout this past season, and we'd see one final attempt from her in ending Gabriel's chances of making the wish in this episode. Hardly able to move, Natalie grabs her crossbow and makes her way to his lair, where Ladybug catches a glimpse of her but ignores her in order to make her way over to the room that Natalie came from. Just as Tomoe would give Gabriel the green light in beginning the next stage of their perfect alliance plan, Emily's coffin alarm would go off and would set Gabriel up to be in the perfect spot for Natalie to end him once and for all. But she just couldn't, at least not in time, as Gabriel would beat her to transforming into Monarch and sending her crossbow flying out of her hands, which is when she collapses and is carried back to her room. This entire scene gave me chills and is one of the moments in the finale that I felt like was truly worthy to be a part of it.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. What?
Natalie has been by Gabriel's side since as early as discovering the butterfly and peacock Miraculous. She was one of the very few people who he trusted and relied on in getting this far, and not only him, but even Emily trusted her and hoped that she one day would be able to stop Gabriel from going too far. The fallout of Gabriel and Natalie's alliance and betrayal in the very end is a huge piece, a part of the many that come along with the Agreste arc, so I'm happy that this was at least focused on in this finale. While Ladybug would slowly be coming to the realization that Felix and Kagami were telling the truth, as she'd uncover more and more evidence throughout the room, with her very own eyes, she'd witness Monarch de-transform. As soon as Gabriel left the room, Ladybug wasted no time in asking Natalie where Adrien was, and while Natalie assured her that he was safe, she wasn't. Her final words were for Ladybug to de-transform, knowing that Gabriel/Monarch was about to hunt them down. Thanks to Ladybug's magical charm he previously received and the cataclysm inflicted on him by Cat Noir, he would be provided with their quantum imprint, which would allow for all of the soon-to-be Alliance minions to pinpoint Ladybug and Cat Noir down wherever they were, only if they were transformed, hence why Natalie warned her to de-transform. While all of this would be going on, we'd get an update on how Marinette's classmates would be managing with their nightmares, and everyone except for Mylène would be relying on the Alliance rings to help soothe the pain of their nightmares. Ivan can be seen struggling the most and is the first to give in to joining the perfect alliance plan. The writers team actually went to comment on this by saying that he has things stressing him out, but that we'll learn more about them in later seasons. Eventually, after Alia snaps out of the Alliance ring, she finally notices Plag trying to get her attention and is actually offered the Miraculous, which she rejects, in fear that she could expose Ladybug's identity to Monarch. Now that all of the Alliance ring users were beginning to transform and help Monarch in finding Ladybug, her location would be revealed to not just Monarch but also Plag, who was able to finally find her in the kitchen cupboard but drops the ring outside of it, resulting in Monarch to check in the kitchen. Before going into season 5, one of the things that was brought up by Thomas was that it was important for the kitchen in the Agreste mansion to be a part of the season in order to tell the story of the Agreste arc, and boy was it important, because who would have thought this is where Monarch would discover Ladybug's identity and the final battle between the two of them would begin. The first half of the finale would conclude in Marinette unifying Plag and Tiki to become Bug Noir, and the cliffhanger that we were left on there was epic. I loved it, and I love Bug Noir's look. We begin the episode recreation by getting a look at what Lila's been up to during all of this, and just by the state of her desk, we can tell she's been busy swapping her appearances and even transferring the data from Tomoe's laptop to another she owns. I think something a lot of us have been wondering is where exactly Lila has been hiding all this time, and after getting a good look at the room and specifically this painting, it seems to be that Lila's in the catacombs, as this room is actually based on a real part of the Paris catacombs. As she'd go on to make her way over to the Agreste mansion, we'd carry on seeing the fight between Monarch and Bug Noir, and it was really exciting to see Bug Noir fighting while being able to use her Miraculous as many times as needed without having to de-transform. Something else I really enjoyed seeing in this finale was the inclusion of heroes we've gotten to meet throughout the previous specials, like Lady Dragon, Eagle, and Uncanny Valley, and even getting to see our new Guardians in training fighting alongside everyone else. I must admit though, while I totally get Luca training to become a Guardian, I just don't understand why Jagged and Penny are training too. It just seems like anyone can become one at this point. Bug Noir cataclysming the floor in a desperate attempt to dodge Monarch's attack was another scene that gave me chills, and I found the fighting choreography during this final battle to be really good. After cataclysming the elevator, leaving Monarch no choice but to catch it in order to protect Emily, that is when Bug Noir would strike and knock the Butterfly Miraculous off of Gabriel and into the water. By the end of this finale, it's shown that Lila was successful in retrieving the Miraculous, but a big question many fans have, including myself, is how exactly she managed to get it, all while staying out of Gabriel and Marinette's sight. Perhaps she had some rope or something to get her down there, but even then, how would she have gotten back up? By using the Miraculous? Hopefully that is something that is shown next season, because I just can't wrap my head around how she managed to do that. But then again, it's Lila, or whatever her real name is. We finally see a moment between Bug Noir and Gabriel where they aren't fighting but rather talking. Gabriel is emotional over the old video of Emily and what's to come for him, Natalie, and Adrien. Bug Noir offers they work together to find a solution with the little time Gabriel has left, when Gabriel suggests she makes the wish, showing that in his mind there was no other way to go about this final battle without making the wish one way or another, which is something Bug Noir should have caught on to in that moment, but instead let her guard down and was paralyzed by Gabriel. As Gabriel would go on to ask Plague and Tiki to reveal themselves, we'd see them in their true forms, something we were teased at way back in season 4 when Tiki was out of control. After the two would combine to reveal Gimme, the Kwame of reality, a dome would form allowing for only Gimme and Gabriel to be in, and this is just such a beautiful scene. As soon as I saw Gimme, the first thing I thought of was how similar they are to the Kwame Null. If you haven't already seen my in-depth video discussing the PV version of Miraculous Ladybug, I highly suggest watching it after this video if you're interested in understanding the early concepts for Miraculous, because the Kwame Null was originally going to work alongside Gabriel in the PV version. It's said that they were the one who trapped Tiki and Plague in the Ladybug earrings and Black Cat ring and wanted to return the world back to nothingness. They had insights into the future that they would share with Gabriel, and overall seemed to be a powerful Kwame with a bit of a mischievous personality, similar to that of Gimme's from what we know about them. Null was also technically not considered a Kwame, but instead a fairy, which is what could be said about Gimme too. I personally believe Gimme is the evolved concept of Null, but I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on Gimme, considering what a powerful creature they are and how little we truly know about them. What made this scene all the more intriguing to me was the fact that Marinette had to watch all of this unfold all while being helpless. She had to witness the one thing she'd been preventing all this time from happening. Before Gabriel would make his wish, he'd take off all of the Miraculouses, the twin rings, and ask of Marinette to make sure Adrien never found out about the villain he truly was, but instead remembered the times he tried to be a good father, which is sad, but what good moments are there to remember?
No.
It just makes the ending of this season, this entire arc, all the more painful when Gabriel is praised to be a hero, and by the end of it, Adrien too believing his dad was a good person, and even going as far as to say he wishes he could live up to him. It's all just crazy. While there's a couple of confusing parts to this final episode, and likely intentionally, one of those moments was the wish. Gabriel is never heard directly stating what it is he wants to change and who it is he wants to bring back. He just goes to say, "Read my heart and read my soul," which is when he has one final embrace with Emily and truly looks at peace. The debate after the finale on whether or not Emily came back to life was honestly really exciting to be a part of because it was one of the few cliffhangers we were left on after this finale. However, it has since been confirmed that who we saw in the finale was Amelie and that Gabriel joined Emily, resulting in Natalie to return. During the writer's commentary, they did go to mention that if Gabriel did succeed in bringing Emily back to life, it would have been hard to explain to Adrien why his mother was suddenly back after all this time. I won't feel for sure about that though until we see things for ourselves next season, since they also go to add that it's not what we think and that there's a trick. From here on out though, a new world has been created, and since everything that went down, we're getting a look at how things are a few weeks later, where we can see everyone enjoying their summer break at Adrien's house, and Adrienette doing well, despite the truth Marinette is keeping from him. Miss Bustier is now mayor, her child Harmony has been born, and she's dedicated to creating what she calls the Eco Rule, which really changes the entirety of Paris as we knew it before. I don't know if I'm going to mind this much going into next season, or if I'm absolutely going to hate it. Now, what's interesting here is that we're getting a look at Tomoe, who knows the truth about Gabriel, and had an alliance with him since as early as the episode Animestro. She mentions that she will be continuing his legacy, and it makes me question if we'll get to see and learn more about her past in the seasons to come, since that was something I was really hoping we'd learn more about this season. Because while she wanted for Kagami and Adrien to become these eternal icons, I feel like there just had to be more in it for her too. This Adrienette moment is definitely one of the prettiest love square scenes, but I just can't help but focus on the lies being said here that Adrien believes. I understand why Marinette's doing this, and it's not easy on her either, but despite how hard it would be for Adrien to know the truth, that is something he deserves to know. For now though, it's nice to see them having some peace without Gabriel trying to get in between them. Going back to the whole Emily-Amelie debate though, I will say that one of the reasons I believed Emily came back to life was because of her statue no longer being in the garden. It seemed like Gabriel sacrificed himself for her to return, hence the appearance of his new statue, but that still wouldn't have explained why Natalie came back, unless, and this was another theory I had after watching the finale, but it was that Lila somehow took Natalie's place. I'll keep this brief, but ultimately, I do assume that this cliffhanger with Lila at the end has something to do with her working with or for the Supreme one day, and that somehow she was taken out of this verse to fit Gabriel's new narrative of the world he created. Does that make any sense? Either way, I can't wait to see what's in store for Lila next season, and I really hope that whatever it is has something to do with the involvement of the Supreme. She's been keeping her identity under wraps, but we do know that she will be attending Mr. Damocles' new high school, so we can likely assume she will be attending the same school as Marinette and Adrien, and I can only imagine the drama coming our way. As for Marinette though, and her plan moving forward, despite not having found the butterfly Miraculous, she's finally been able to change all of the Miraculouses Monarch turned into rings back into their original forms, and has given each of the previous holders of the Miraculouses their own to keep permanently, which means next season we'll also have the return of the other heroes again. But as always, what did you guys think of the season 5 finale? Were you satisfied, disappointed? I think overall it wasn't terrible, but I really had high expectations, especially going into it after the last finale we got, which was amazing, and knowing that this was going to be how we wrap up the past 5 seasons. As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts and theories down below, and subscribe so you never miss the tea on the show you love. And an extra special thanks to my Guardian channel members, Libby, William, Yazan, and Amandine for your support. And if you'd like to become a member here on my channel and receive benefits such as special emotes, shoutouts at the end of my videos, little Kwame badges next to your username, or early access to my videos, those, then you can check out the link in the description of this video and choose your tier. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.